Hello, everyone. We are live, and this is our first rebranded Chats with the Author in the Nerdy Romantics Facebook group. So, for all of those who are joining live, welcome. If you are seeing the replay of this, welcome to the replay. We are talking today with Camille Baker, and she is author of the novel Have We Met? She's earned a bachelor's degree in finance from the Ohio State University. I believe that's how they say, right? There she took sign language classes for fun and wrote stories during business classes that didn't hold her interest. I've done that before. And after graduating, she completed the interpreter training program at San Antonio College. Camille now resides, interprets, and writes in South Chicago. For more information, you can visit her website. It's CamilleBaker.com, and I will put that up a little bit later in the broadcast. One thing I want to let everyone know is we are on a platform called StreamYard. And in order for me to see if you are, for your comments to be shown during the stream, you have to give StreamYard permission to do that. And so you can go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. It is a one-click thing, but you have to do that because of Facebook's privacy policy. So let's bring Camille on. And all right, Camille, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being with us. I am going to put on comments so I can see, but I'll try to post any comments that are questions. I'll post those, and that way we can both see as far as the comments and questions go. So, first off, I'd like to know from your bio, I'd like to know what got you interested in A, finance, and B, interpreting. Those are so different.
Yes. Thank you, by the way, for your stressing of the and the Ohio State University.
Yes.
So I started off majoring in, what was it? Chemical engineering. So you can tell that because it took me a while to fish that out, like it didn't last long. I quickly knew that wasn't for me. And so I was kind of trying to find anything that I was interested in. Like, I don't know, I was 18, 19 and felt like I was like, okay, I'm failing at this. So I need to find something else I'm good at. I knew from high school I was good at economics because I took to it easily. Like all the concepts, I picked it up quickly. And I've always liked math. So I was like, economics and math together is finance. So I'll major in finance. I minored in economics. And it was as I expected. It was something that I was able to learn, something that I was able to grasp, and I did well in my classes. So I was like, all right, this is working out. But it wasn't like exciting or anything. And I always wanted to learn sign language. So Ohio State offered like sign language classes, but it wasn't a major or anything.
Okay.
So I took it for fun. I took 4 classes there. And so after I was done with that, I was like, well, I wonder if I could do this interpreting thing. So instead of like working out of college or I tried to get a finance job. I applied to maybe 3 places, didn't get any of them. So I was like, all right, perfect. So it's meant for me to do the interpreting thing. And so that's where I went.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And so is that why you have in the book, is that why you have the finance, a main character? She has a finance degree. And then you also have the main character's brother being deaf. And so they had to do sign language there.
Definitely. So the main characters, her college backgrounds, like that was an easy, like accessible pool from my background. Cause I was like, I know economics, I know finance, I know what she would have learned in college. And then thinking how she could use it to do something that the character finds fulfilling. So working for a nonprofit. So yeah, pulled from that. And so with the brother, like lately in all my stories, I always want to see that deaf representation because in my work, like my whole goal is to make stories that feel as diverse as the world that I live in. And so in my world, like I'm surrounded by Black and brown people. So that's what you're going to see in my books. And also, I'm like heavily in the deaf community. I work with them. So I'm like, yeah, I see like deaf people day in, day out. So I want them in my book as well.
Right. And so that kind of brings me to, I guess, a question that I had gotten earlier, or, just kind of elaborate on what made you want to do. Was it a conscious effort to make your characters diverse, not just diverse with racially or with differing abilities, but what about diversity? I've noticed that you have a character who's non-binary, you have a character who is bisexual, and a character, I believe, who is a lesbian. So, talk a little bit about what your thought process was behind creating these characters and making sure they were so diverse.
Yeah. So for this book, I wrote it like the first draft I wrote during NaNoWriMo. So I remember I was juggling between two different ideas, and this one was like, oh, I wonder if I could pull this off. And so, like a few days before Nana, I was like, I'm going to go with this. Let me see how far I can plot ahead. And so I sat down and like consciously like thought about the book and was like, okay, let me see. And just thinking about it, I was able to get the first maybe fourth or a third of the scenes. So I could see pretty far ahead, which is pretty good for me because sometimes I like
Yeah.
will like pants the whole book. So seeing like a third of the way into it, how I wanted to go, I was like, oh, this is exciting. And so I got in, I want to say I thought about the main character at least, right? Thought about the main
Yeah.
character, got the names down. But other than that, when like I was introducing people on the page, I didn't really think twice about what they were. Like it was just so quick because with Nano, you just have to keep moving.
Yes.
So then with like developing them, like for the most part, I kept like their first identities, like their sexual identities, gender identities, race stayed the same. So all of them stayed the same. I just fleshed out like their backstory and things like that in like the later drafts. So, but when like thinking back on the character and the cast, I'm like, well, this seems like true because it's similar to my group of friends. So it wasn't like it was coming out of nowhere, it was just coming from my past experience and the group that I surround myself with.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So you are writing what you know, but
Yeah,
it
for
it
sure in
just
this
happened.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And this may kind of be jumping the gun, but I'm thinking about the characters, and I'm thinking, because this is your debut novel, is this going to be part of a series? Because I noticed at the end, you know, the app is shared.
Hmm. It is shared. And so it is a series, or, one of those like it's a series, but can also stand alone. So yeah, the next book will follow someone. Can I say? I can say, right?
Yeah, you could
It doesn't
say.
spoil anything, I don't think. So yeah, the next one
Okay.
follows the character Tawanda, who we meet in the first one. And sequels are not easy,
Yes, they are not.
So I thought like when I was in the middle of writing Have We Met, like I had written the first draft, I was waiting to revisit it and write the second draft. And as I was trying to replot it and rework it for the second draft, I remember thinking like, if Tawanda gets a story, then I imagine it being like this. And I had so many ideas. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be so much fun to write. But I was like, wait, Camille, you have to finish the first book first, right? And get that
Yeah.
one out.
Right.
So I focused on the first one. I still had all my notes for Tawanda. And so when it was finally time to write her book and I got her notes out, I was surprised and shocked and disgusted to find that it was not easy.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And are you even thinking about necessarily going past that second book and maybe doing more, or have you even thought about that? Or
When I was like struggling with Tawanda, I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like, I told my friends, like, remind me that I'm saying this because I'm sure I'm going to want to try, and tell me not to because I hate this.
yeah,
I think part of the reason as a writer, I will tend to like write a book in a certain genre and like the next one I'll do something totally different. So having to like stick with this genre, stick with this world, it was like kind of restricting in a good way, in a challenging way at sometimes, you know.
right.
But as I finished like Tawanda's book, because it's finished, we're in copy edits now. And so as I finished her book, I was like, I know who would get it next and I know who they end up with. And I'm like, but no, but no. So it, you know, the door's open, but I have strong doubts that it will be utilized.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that you're writing them as series but standalone, so then
Mhm.
these same characters don't have to necessarily have an arc, which
Yeah.
is what my issue is right now. But you did talk about staying with the genre, and I was actually going to ask you about the genre. So what made you want to write I'm a romantic comedy? And is that where you wanted to go? Is that how you wanted to start? Or it just the story and you had to figure out where the story is gonna go in the bookstore?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I like started writing this at Nano, I think I set out to write a romance in general, right? I don't think I classified it as a rom-com. I knew like there was always going to be like that humor there, but I didn't know if it was going to be like, you know, rom-com, but contemporary romance for sure. So that's what I went forward with. And then when I was querying, I got my agent with this book. And then when it was bought by my editor, Alicia, she saw like the women's fiction elements in it. And actually, rewind a bit, when I was like trying to figure out querying and stuff, I got some feedback that like, like, yeah, I'm seeing like the romantic elements, but I'm also seeing women's fiction come through because
Yes.
it takes a while to meet the love interest.
Yes.
So that was like a big like tell for this person. I was like, oh crap, I don't know what it is at that point. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, I'm just gonna go with it. Maybe someone will tell me what it is, right? And
Yeah.
so my editor, fast forward, my editor saw like women's fiction elements, and it wasn't a bad thing for her because for like the Lake Union imprint, they tend to be a mix of two different genres. So like the romance and women's fiction mix was what they were looking for.
Yes.
So editing with her added more scenes with like the friends, just more scenes to like flesh out those women's fiction elements for sure. So yeah, so now it's like contemporary fiction, I guess, women's fiction.
Yeah. I would consider
Sometimes,
it yeah, I would kind of consider it romantic women's fiction.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you talk about, you want to stay, or it's hard to stay in genre. Are you thinking about going out after Tawanda or after the next story? Are you thinking about going totally outside of genre? And what do you mean by I don't want to stay in the genre? Are we going to see a sci-fi author next? Sci-fi
If
Camille?
I could pull off a sci-fi offer, no way. Um, so it'll definitely be contemporary. And I feel like all my books, like even if like the genre changes, like if it stops, because if it stops centering only women, like if we expand it and if it goes back and forth between like, you know, the two love interests, fine, romance. But if we expand
Okay.
it and like have more than like two perspectives, then that tends to like disqualify it from women's fiction, right? Because if you have like a male's perspective, like it's not women's fiction. So in that case, it will be like contemporary fiction, broad, or book club fiction, like something broad like that. But inside of the book, like it still has the same elements that I tend to revisit, like grief or found family, a love aspect in there, things like that. So it's like a different genre technically, but it will very much still be like a me book, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a question for the group. We don't exactly have a group yet. We kind of have a group going, but I'm going to put up a question for the group. To everyone, put in the comments what are your favorite scenes or any of your favorite characters from Have We Met? I want to ask you, who are your favorite characters and what was your favorite scene?
Okay, so my favorite characters will definitely be Tawanda. That's why she gets her own book. And Leto, I loved him and loved every scene he was in. I love the dynamic between the siblings. So those are my two faves. And favorite scene for a long time it was the hair scene. So I'll go with the hair scene.
Yes, the hair scene.
Yeah,
I know, I loved it. I was like, why did I cut off all my hair?
Sometimes
now I
like
want hair.
flipping through my book and I'm like, I'll read this scene again. You know, that's like a scene like I'm happy to revisit. I'm like, oh, so cute.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I like this too. We comment one of my favorite scenes was the one where Corey is working out and Corey fixes her posture. Yes, I like that one too. Or the hair scene. Definitely the hair scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is something about those tense but intimate moments that it feels like if you don't have that, you don't have that real romantic element. It doesn't matter what the heat level is. It has to have those small intimate moments in there.
Yeah.
And for you, I mean, what makes a romance? What's a good romance novel for you? I mean, that to me makes me keep reading. But what about you? What's a good romance or even romantic women's fiction?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's like a feeling. Let me see. It feels like when you're reading it, you feel like you know the characters. Like there's some like depth to it, like the pool, the tension. Let me see. I just read finally 7 Days in June.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this is romance. Like, I don't know what I've been writing before, but this is a romance. Just yes, it's definitely those moments between the character where you know what my favorite part of romance is the build up, right? When they like get together, I'm just like, all right, that's fine. Like, yeah, it's fine. But for me, it's like the build up, like when they're trying to figure it out, they're trying to fill each other out, they like each other. Those scenes that really like cement their relationship together, like that's my favorite part of romance.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I would agree here that the Corey working out and Corey fixing her posture, that's one of those build up kind of moments that feels like to me. It's one of those moments where it's like, oh wow, they're figuring each other out. You know, they're just and they're both just in their elements at that point.
Yeah. Those are my favorite scenes to write too. Like finding out like those moments that the couple share and writing them, like those are the best.
Oh yeah. So now that we're talking about favorite scenes, what about tropes? Do you have any favorite tropes?
I do. I love hate to love. I can't escape it. And so I feel like I haven't had an idea that can pull it off yet. So what ends up happening in my writing is this like a sort of annoyance to love. Like I think it came out in like And Have We Met? Because they start off and they're kind of like meh towards each other. They kind of don't gel right away. So it was kind of like a to love, right? One day I am going to master a true hate to love. But until then, you know, I do like annoyance to love. I used to really like fake dating tropes, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm still waiting for one to really bring me back to my love to fake dating.
Yeah.
I still read it. I still like, oh, okay, fake dating, but I'm still waiting, you know, for a true fake dating knockout because I used to like really be close with fake dating.
Right.
Recently, Grumpy to like Sunshine, like those two pairings.
Yes.
That's like been a recent. It's coming up in my ranking.
Grumpy Sunshine, Chloe Brown.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the first one that comes to mind. Most recent one that comes to mind. I love it. I love it. Oh, okay. We have another. The moment when. Hold on. Let me show it. That moment when Corey says Corey is decidedly fine about that. Yes. You know, I could just imagine what he looks like. But what are you imagining? Like, if this were a movie,
who would
play Corinne and Cortland?
Yeah. I had thoughts about Corinne. What is her name? Jacinta something Howard? Let me look it up.
Okay.
But I had thoughts of her. Like that's
very familiar.
I feel like I saw her in something and I was like, yes, that's how she would look. Jacinda, maybe? It's not coming up. But it's something like that. Something with a J. She was in something. I can't remember.
They're saying Jacinta.
Thank you. Huh.
Jacinta Howard. What has she been in? That maybe that name is familiar, but I can't place her.
I feel like she was in that show like where like God texted me. I didn't watch but one episode.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. God friended me or something.
Yeah. And I feel like she was in something popular recently. And I was like, oh, look at you. Like, you'll never be in my show now because you're too big, you know?
Oh, no.
But for Corey, I never got anyone, never pictured any like specific actor. I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm seeing him. Yeah, I'm seeing him, but I'm not seeing necessarily an actor either, but I'm seeing him. I'm kind of seeing. No, I don't think he would work. I was thinking.
It's like there's so many like new actors, but like to match like locks, so they're gonna have to like wear like a wig, a locks wig, and it'll just look horrible.
And you know, oh my gosh, I hate when they have to do that. Because the guy that I was thinking about, he had locks in this particular thing, but they were a wig. And I was like, I've seen him without them, and he does not. He looks good without them. He does not look good with them because it was a wig. So you just don't know. But so when we're talking about the characters, what about any of the other characters? Are you picturing anybody for any of the other characters? I love the mom.
Me too. Did I have a mom thought? No. I feel like maybe I did. Maybe I put in like a Pinterest board, but no. But Tawanda, you know, since she has another book, I had to figure out who I wanted her to look like. And I found it. What is her name? Scotty Beam. I saw her on Instagram and I was like, you're gorgeous. And that's how I would picture Tawanda to look. But yeah.
Oh, wow. Now I'm going to have to look up Scotty Beam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a music
I'm gonna
journalist.
have to look that up. Okay, I'm gonna have to look her up and see.
What else? No. Mm-mm-mm. And like for
I
like character descriptions, that comes sometimes in like the first draft, I'll like know how someone looks, but usually for
Yeah.
me, it's like in subsequent drafts. That's when I'm like, okay, I need to figure out and get a description down.
Yeah. So yeah, by being that you wrote this during Nano, yeah, how did that come about? Are you just like hearing them in your mind? Are you just getting a feel for them and then you're picturing them? Or
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly the order for me.
Yeah. Gosh, I had another question when we were talking. Oh, the friends. I was thinking because you were talking about Tawan, and I'm thinking about the friends and Corey's friend or Corinne's friend group that develops, and especially that scene, the scenes where I think it's Elise's goodbye party or leaving work
Oh, leaving work.
party,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing like an amazing race through through Chicago. So yeah, I mean, you're there, right? So these are all familiar. Is this familiar to you, or did you have to do any research for it, or have you done this before? Because it sounds so fun.
I have not done it. It does sound fun. So yeah, so I wrote this book 2019, Nano, and I moved back to Chicago. I was born in Chicago. Lived there
Okay.
for maybe 5 years total in my like growing up life. So like 3 years of it, I can't remember. It was like a baby years. And then from 8 to 10 lived there.
Okay.
So I just came back to Chicago in 2019, wrote this August 2019, wrote this in November. So I was asking my aunts and asking like all my family in Chicago. I was pulling up Google Maps to see where everything was. And
Was
then, like,
yeah.
when I was out driving, I was like, oh, I'm near where I put this. Let me go and drive over. So I drove to make sure everything was there. I mentioned a restaurant in there that I saw
Yep.
on like this local Chicago show. It's called Check Please, and they like go check out restaurants around the city. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a nice place. And it ended up in the book. And I was like, well, I have to try it. So I went and tried it. I did diligent research. I had to eat sandwiches.
Of course.
And for the museum part, I was like stressing. I don't think I didn't make it to test this out until during line edits, like copy edits type. So we had already
Okay.
finished editing the book. But still, I was like, I don't know if this is possible to do, to like go up to this like dinosaur. Like, I know it's there because you see it, but I don't know if like you can get there on foot if it's accessible. So this is like during the pandemic, everything was like pretty much shut down. And like my aunt drove me like past, like she parked in like a no park zone, but she was in the car, so it was fine. And like hopped up, I was like bundled, it was cold. And I like ran up the stairs. There are barricades because it was closed for the pandemic. And I was like, crap, how am I supposed to see if I can like get to this dinosaur from this side? And I was like, you know what?
Right.
I got to do what you got to do. So I like went past the barricades, like went up, and I got like pictures with the dinosaur. I was like, perfect. It's
Oh wow.
checked. And yeah.
Oh wow. That's funny.
I was able to clean up a few lines that didn't make sense because like I actually like had to change because I learned like I tried going up two separate ways, like from different sides. And so figured that out, changed the lines and like the copy edits, and I was like, whew, now like
Now it
Chicago
makes sense.
won't call me out as much.
Right. Because they will call you out.
They will. I'm sure they'll find something.
It's like, oh, this is not here. No. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, it is in my world.
Right.
Calm
It's
down.
fiction.
Right. Oh gosh. So we had one comment and which made me want to ask you. They were talking about Danny Brown book is a good fake dating book. Yes, a good
Yeah.
fake relationship book. It is.
Mhm.
This kind of segues into I wanted to ask you what are some of your or do you have any favorite romance novels? Yeah. First, That's first question. What are some of your favorite romance novels?
Let me tell you my favorite recent read. So I already mentioned 7 Days in June. That's like gonna be a favorite for a while. So I read that recently, and I just read Real by Kennedy Ryan.
Oh yeah, I have not read it yet. Oh,
It's so good. Like I got it from like an indie bookstore because I was there. Like I went there a month before. There's a book club, and I saw it and I was like, no, I'll just read on my Kindle or I'll like do the audiobook because I knew it was kind of long and my attention span has been like so small. But the second time I was there, I was like, you know, it's just a really beautiful cover. It's
it
so pretty.
is.
I'll show y'all the cover. Like,
It's a yeah.
right?
That's a gorgeous cover. Everybody, gorgeous
So
cover.
I was like, I'm just gonna buy it because I would like to have this cover. And then I started like reading it, like flipping pages. It had been a while since I flipped pages, and it was just amazing. Like that was my life for the next few days. Was like reading that. Mm-hmm. So good. And the Kiss Quotient series
Yes,
by Helen Huang.
yes.
I'm not pronouncing that, but Kiss Quotient, Bride Test, Heart Principle. I don't know which one of my is my favorite of the three. Like I keep switching depending on like my mood, but I read the first two twice. I loved it so much.
Oh yeah. I think I read the first one like 3 times. I was like, let me make sure I got this right.
Right. So good.
I just loved it. It's so good. Yeah. So
Yeah, Talia Hibbert is like a favorite of mine. I love her whole Brown Sisters series. What else did she do that I loved? I don't know. I've been working my way through her backlist. I basically like love everything she does.
yeah. I started with her. I started with Chloe as well and the Brown
Mm-hmm.
Sister series. And then she has this series, Ravenswood
Oh,
series, A Girl Like Her. And
mhm.
I think there's like 4 books in that series. So I
Yeah.
started reading that. And then she's also been, I guess these are like some of her indie books that she's been redoing the covers on. And
Mm-hmm.
every now and then she'll redo the cover on one and she'll put it out maybe on sale. And I'll be like, oh, I didn't know she had that one. And so
Yeah.
I'm one clicking it. And I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I love everything she's done that I've read
Yeah.
so far.
She's been working and writing Alyssa Cole's Princess series, the second one, A Duke by Default, favorite of the series. The whole series is good, but that's my favorite. Alicia Ray, she like wrote like new like cartoon cover like romance, right? Those ones like had a lot
Right.
of publicity or whatever around it. At least I saw them a lot. But her
Yes.
series before that, like the Forbidden Heart series or whatever,
Okay.
there's 3 books in there. And the second one, like Hate to Want You. I don't know which one it is, but the second one, my
Okay.
favorite of that series. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
What favorites do you have?
I just well, I'm totally Talia Hilbert. I will have to say if it depends on what my mood is for heat
Mhm.
level.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if I want something steamy or maybe a little bit more than that, I'm going with Sierra Simone.
Mm.
She has a little bit of a dark streak
Yeah, I only
too.
read one of hers, and I just read it, Sinner, the
Oh
second one.
yeah,
I skipped Priest and went to Sinner because my friend was like, "Just go straight to Sinner," and I was like, "Okay."
yeah, that series, I'm in that series now. I'm reading that series now. I
Mhm.
had started reading her Thorn Chapel series, A
Mhm.
Lesson in Thorns and everything, but I was reading it and I was like, I want more. And she had only had out the first one and didn't have out the second one yet. And
Mhm.
so I said, okay, I got to put this down. And then I started reading Talia Hibbert and I got distracted. But, if I want something that kind of heat level, I also like Shayla. I think it's Shayla Black.
I haven't read anything by her.
Now I've got to go back and look and see if it is Shayla Black. But I listened to her series. It's More Than series. It's called More Than. And
Mhm.
like the first book that I listened to, a friend had actually told me about it, was More Than Love You, I think. No, not More Than Love You. That was book 4. More Than Crave You, I think. I
Oh,
think that's the
okay.
book. And I started with that book, but that's
Oop,
actually book 4 in the series.
I
So
see
I
it. I
had to
see
go
it.
back. And so I was like, oh, I need to go back. I need to listen to, but I listened to all of those books. And partly the reason I listened to them is because of Christian Fox.
Is that the narrator or
Yes.
the?
Yeah. He's nice. I nice and out of my budget, but yeah, nice. But yeah, I'm kind of on the romance romantic comedies are my romance novels, but then I'm also like reading a lot of women's fiction too.
Mhm.
And my all-time favorite author as far as women's fiction goes is Jennifer Weiner. So I've been, catching up on some of her stuff and reading some of her
Mhm.
stuff lately. Yeah.
I am a mood reader. So like depending on my mood is what I'll read. But like no matter what my mood is, if I'm like not in the mood to read anything, I'm like between books, like I can always pick up like a romance book. And so I
Yes.
have Kindle Unlimited, and so that's great for a lot of like indie romances. I love Katrina Jackson. She's like anytime I want to read something of hers, like it's always enjoyable. But yeah.
Yeah, I think with romance, it's like it always fills that gap. It's good to just have it there, but also if you're not even sure what you want to read, but you want to read something, just pick up a romance novel. You
Yeah.
will never a good romance novel. You will never be disappointed. And
Mhm.
again, for me, it is about for me it's about heat level. When I want a romance novel, it's about heat level, and it's about what mood am I in? Am I in a sweet mood, or am I in a steamy mood, or am I in a more of an erotic romance mood? Usually I'm in that zone where it's like maybe sweet but maybe steamy. I'm
Mhm.
kind of but closer to steamy, like maybe one or two scenes. But I will say writing steamy scenes is hard. I see why people don't do that.
It is. So I reading romance, like I am okay with any steam level. Like if it's a lot, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, interesting. And like I really enjoy it. But writing it, like I wrote out all of like the sex scenes that are like alluded to in the book. Like I wrote them all out. And they were gonna be in the book. But my editor for like the women's fiction like romance blend, it's for that like
Yeah.
imprint, it's more like bring it down. And I was like, that's fine. This is my first book, so my family will probably want to read it. So you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll like bury the lead, and then when they stop reading my books, that's when I'll
Right.
take it out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's another thing. So, what is the perception now? Now you have this debut romance novel out there, or you have this debut novel out there.
Mhm.
So, we have in our group, we have mostly readers, but we have a few who are also authors. So, what does that look like? Just let's talk just a little bit about the publishing process and how
Yeah.
that affects you.
So now that, well, before like I started publishing, just writing with the goal of like getting published, like that was fine. I just wrote based on whims, whatever I wanted to write. So now, like under a publishing contract, like I was locked in for the second book, right? So I wrote Tawanda's. And so figuring out what I want to write next is more of like a thought about publishability than it was before. I mean, I guess I was thinking like, oh, would an agent want this? But not really, because agents don't really want most of the things that I had written. So at that point, it was like, fine, I'm just going to write what I want. And so I feel like I do need to try to keep that mindset as much as possible, just write what I want. And, what works out will work out. And what doesn't, we'll put away until you can hopefully bring it out later. But yeah, it is different. I remember like sitting down to write, maybe it was revising like Tawanda's book. Like I would sit down to write. I was on like the couch, sitting with my grandmother and just like writing like usual. And I was like feeling like pressure. I was like, why do I feel chest pressure? Like, why am I like feeling like I'm not breathing in deeply enough? So I like sat my computer down, like walked around the house or whatever, and, just like got something to drink or food or whatever and just like set it aside. But I'm like, this is interesting. Like, is this writing anxiety? Because I don't like it. I need to like nip it in the bud because that's not a relationship I want to have with writing.
Yeah. And is it because like now you kind of have like I'm assuming they're giving you deadlines now.
Yeah. I had deadlines, but deadlines, schmedlines. Good. But I was like, I asked for an extension for the first like turn in. Like, it's just what I need. So I'm okay with asking for more time, which is good. But yeah, deadlines do add some pressure to it.
So for everyone who's out there, if you have any questions for Camille, I know I've been talking a whole lot here, but we're coming up on, we have about 15 minutes left in this stream, or not in the stream, but we have about 15 minutes left of our allotted time. So if you have any questions for her, please put them in the comments and we will ask those questions. One question I did have, or one comment someone made to me, a friend made to me about the book, is that she liked that the main character, Corinne, didn't really have it all together, like didn't have her life together, but that she was making this effort to find really what she wanted to do versus just having a job. So how close is that to kind of, is that written from experience? Was that something that you consciously did? Was it catharsis? How did that whole storyline come about? Because that ended up being a big discussion for us about like our life journeys and career journeys.
Yes. I feel like I just like seeing characters who are in flux, who don't have it all figured out. I feel like even characters that seem like they have it all figured out on the outside, like you end up learning throughout the story that's not the case. But yeah, definitely once I graduated college, like I worked in the Career Center when I was as an undergrad, like my junior and senior year, I worked in like the Career Center of the business school. So I'm seeing like my peers go in and they have their suits on. They're going into these interviews with like these huge companies. They're getting job offers. I'm like entering their like job offer information, seeing them about to start making $50,000 coming out of school. And I'm like, dang, like y'all got your life together. And I'm here not getting a job. I'm interviewing for, I was interviewing for a lot of places. I feel like maybe in retrospect, I didn't cast a wide enough net. But I'm like, I'm not getting any bites on like the 3 jobs that I was willing to work. Like, that's why I was so small. It's like, these are the 3 I would be willing to work in finance, right?
Right.
So I was like, well, dang, like, I don't know what I'm doing next. I'm going to transfer to like a community college to do the sign language program because, they didn't have one at the university. So community college was the best option. And then got homesick, moved from Ohio back to San Antonio. So yeah, definitely related to like that life in flux, still figuring it out type of situation. Yeah, for sure.
And also with that, so when you started writing, so I'm assuming that, I'm not assuming anything. I'm going to ask you. So now that you have a book out, are you a full-time writer now? Do you have
Right.
something else? Are we catching you after you've come home from, a day at the office?
I I'm happy with how my life looks right now. So what is happening is I part-time interpret, which I had been doing. So before I got published, I was almost full-time interpreting, right? About 40 hours a week, but sometimes it's like 35 because you like add jobs, it fluctuates from week to week. So I was doing that. I interpret part-time at a community college systems, and then I like write around that schedule basically. And so that's what I've continued to do. With pandemic, I'm interpreting remotely. So it's like interpreting classes. This is our finals week, so we're almost done. So like literally today, I log in on to the class, to interpret, and all I interpreted was like, log into your test, like you have 3 hours to take your test, and here's the passcode. I interpret that. I wish my student good luck, say it was nice working with them that semester. And then like that's it for like that 2 hour class, right? We're done in 5 minutes. And so for the rest of the time, I'm like, oh, okay, I can use this time to write, which I didn't end up doing, but I could have. And then like I just write around it. Yeah. So part-time writer, part-time interpreter. And I love interpreting so much that, this is what I want to do, part-time both. If I stop interpreting, I don't know. I don't know if full-time writing is a goal of mine. Yeah. If I do full-time writing, it's only because I'm taking a break from interpreting because I'm out of the country for a few months or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I can see that.
So writing was not necessarily your first love. It was just, it was a hobby for a while that you liked, and it became a little more.
I always like wrote stories like growing up and everything, but I never like had the goal of like writing books until the summer after freshman year of college. I remember because I went home to San Antonio, tried to find a job. I couldn't find a job. No one was hiring me. So I like spent a lot of time at the library reading books. And somewhere between like book number 10 and 11, I was like, I want to write one of these. And so that's when like I started writing, and that was 2011.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I started writing then, but never like got on like a consistent writing basis until maybe 2014, 15. And that's when I was like starting to learn about publishing and the process and everything.
Is that when you also learned about Nano? I always like to find out how people find Nano.
Yeah, like learned about Nano through like Twitter streets, I'm sure, like the Twitter writing people talking about it. And I was like, let me try to do it. I think my first Nano I tried was maybe 2015. Yeah, 2015 or 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So again, for those who are out there, we've got a little less than 10 minutes left. So if you have any questions that you want to ask Camille, please put those in the comments.
I have a question for you if we don't have any.
You have a question for me?
I do. What are you working on?
Oh, okay. Wow. I am working on right now book 2 of, well, it was supposed to be a romantic comedy, but this book is a little bit darker. So I think the series is going to end up just being contemporary romance. And funny enough, which is another question I wanted to ask you about the app, but funny enough, mine also has a dating app in it. It has not anything like yours, but it has a dating app in it. And partly the whole reason why this whole thing came about was because I did a blog serial. One summer I went on Tinder and I blogged about it. And so that actually became my most engaging thing on my blog ever.
I love those stories because I'm very cynical about dating apps. So I'm like, yes, please tell me your experience.
Oh my, it was an interesting experience, but it's funny how like the experience, I think what it did for me personally, writing about the experience helped me kind of create a voice, because I think my writing before was a little bit poetic and flowy and all of that, but that's not really my voice. I'm kind of snarky and, and when I think about it, I'm really good with the comeback. Now, in person, I don't necessarily am. No, I'm not
Right,
good
but when
with
you have time to
comeback.
think about it, you're like, "Ooh, I got something good for you." Try
Right,
it again.
exactly. It's like 5 hours later, and there's like,
Yeah, it's like,
oh, I know what I want to
this is
say
what I should have said."
now. Right. So, that kind of ended up coming out in that particular blog series that I did. And so when I started writing the first book, that's what ended up coming out. So I said, oh my gosh, this is going to be a romantic comedy. But I noticed, like with the first book, it was definitely also women's fiction because it was coming from the main character was a woman. It was kind of coming from a place of her accepting kind of not necessarily how she was being seen by kind of how she was being seen by the guy. And so I really wanted to delve a little bit more into some social issues. And then around the time when I started the second book, something happened in the news that I found really upsetting and really disturbing. And it was that's why it kind of went dark. That's why the second book kind of went dark, because that one piece and how people were reacting to that one piece really bothered me. Somebody said I
Yeah.
removed that blog. Yeah. But it took a dark turn. So the first book is she's plus size, so it's kind of writing from that angle. And those are not necessarily funny scenes, but that's kind of part of the thread, the women's fiction thread. And I noticed with all of my things that I'm writing, it kind of has a little bit of a women's fiction thread because they're going on an emotional journey. And this second one was going to kind of talk about race because this character just pops up in the first one. And he's just a bad guy. And I wanted to write a
I love
bad
those
guy.
characters. I love when they pop up and surprise you.
It's like, oh my gosh. I wanted to write this bad guy character. And at first it was going to be funny. But then that one news situation that kind of went along with a little bit of the theme from this next book, it kind of made it dark. So it kind of went a dark route. So, I mean, it's not dark like, oh my gosh, this is, horrible. This is violent. This is, it's not like that. But I know if I market it as a romantic comedy, it's not going to work.
Yeah, but I think it's beautiful that you allow what you're seeing in the world and everything that causes discomfort in you or whatever. I think it's nice that you allow it to influence your art, in the time, like, and not be like so like holding on to like, no, this was my plan, but like being open to like the artistic process is something I'm still learning to do.
Right. And for me, it's something that I don't think I ever thought about until I got writing buddies. Right? And, I have some in-person writing buddies that I write with. And when you just start talking about, what you're writing and you start talking about things, it's like, wow, I need to look at this in a different way. And then when they're talking about what they're writing about, it's like, oh, that's an interesting way of looking at that. And then you look at your own stuff and you're thinking, oh, I could look at this in a different way. So I have some in-person writing buddies. Of course, the pandemic is kind of squashing that. We just talk online. But I'm also part of the Women's Fiction Writers Association, which they have a daily, sometimes twice a day, where they do a virtual write-in. So it's like a Zoom call where you go and you write in. And so, it kind of is forcing me to think about what can I glean from the world, or how is the world influencing my writing. And I've never thought like that before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's new for
Yeah.
me too. It's new for me too. But somebody said, I remember that blog. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm going to go read that blog after we're done here.
It's still out there. It's still on my website. It's on my website, and actually is the whole series is bookmarked because it was like the most popular thing. And I wasn't actually talking about specific instances because I didn't want to put it out there and somebody says that was me and get mad. Yeah. Why is she writing about me? Like, whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. But people actually had feedback on it. But someone said in the comments, I don't have any questions, but I do want to comment that I've really enjoyed this discussion. Great conversation and energy. I think it's because we have a great guest here, Camille Baker. You are an awesome guest.
Thank you. You're a great host. Thank you for figuring out the system and everything and inviting me.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Anytime. You have to now because Talia was here for, I think we did something last year, and she was here just like chatting back and forth because, of course, she's on a different continent. So we couldn't really do this, but at least her author page is still in the group. So, you got to stick around in the group. Hang out.
Oh, yeah, of course. I can't wait to be involved. Y'all will see me. I only go on Facebook to check my group, so I'll be on.
Yeah, that's usually what I do. I go on, I check my groups, I hang out with my groups, and then I'm out. Mm-hmm. I love Instagram. Even though I don't post a lot, I just stay on Instagram. I love pictures on Instagram.
Yeah, I just started into Instagram maybe a year ago, but it's so easy to I have a timer on my phone, so 15 minutes will cut me off. So I'll give myself 15 minutes. I'll scroll all hard as much as I can. I'm just I like it. I like to see it, and then then it's over. I'm like, okay, that was a good jolt of other people's life.
You're right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm glad you were able to come on with us. I am going to put up Camille's website again. And now that we're talking about Instagram and social media, are your links on there on your website?
Yes, they're on my website. I'm mostly on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right, cool beans. Anything else you want to tell the masses? Oh boy.
No, just thank you for reading my book. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, great. Hi, isn't it great when you find awesome reads like the ones on this episode? If you liked getting these book recs and want more, then subscribe to Nerdy Romantics newsletter at ymnelson.com/subscribe. Nerdy Romantics newsletter not only has nerdy and romantic recs, but sneak peeks and exclusives of my spicy nerdy romances and love stories. I love talking about sci-fi, superheroes, fantasy, and romance, books, movies, and shows with my friends. So share this podcast with your nerdy romantic friends. Thanks for listening and for watching.